Are you crying? There's no crying in baseball!
League of Their Own is a story about the Rockford Peaches, coached by Tom Hanks, who plays Jimmy Dugan.
He's a man with history. I just think he's a guy that knew that he blew it. That's pretty much the way I look at him. He had it great. He didn't realize he had it great when he was playing baseball, but now he knows that he had it great. And it was only through his own stupidity and bad behavior that he took himself out of the game because he blew out his knee in a stupid kind of accident. And it was all because of his drinking. And that he misses that. And along with missing that, he also knows that he'll never, ever, ever get it back. So he's on a long road to oblivion and obscurity, and there's nothing he can do to screech the brakes. And I think that's a really cool dilemma for a guy to have in a movie, especially when it's not the main story of what's going on.
Why do you gotta be so good, huh?
Geena Davis and I play sisters. She plays Dottie. I play Kit.
You follow these two characters through getting recruited and going off to join the league.
Kit really feels like she's in Dottie's shadow. Dottie gets everything. She's, tall and beautiful and married and an amazing ball player, and Kit kind of feels slighted. She's the second, smaller and, not as glamorous. And then these two, they go through something during the film where the relationship changes and they learn a lot about each other.
And it's a lot about our sibling rivalry that gets resolved in one way or another by the end.
What's the matter, kid? You too big to finish your own games now?
Doris Murphy is a tough, wisecracking, streetwise New Yorker who loves baseball more than anything else. I mean, Penny initially said, Rosie, here's Madonna, you two play best friends, get to know each other. So, we got to know each other, and Madonna and I have a lot in common, and I have tremendous respect for her personally and professionally, and we sort of bonded in a sisterly kind of way, and that's the chemistry that you see on screen that is actually real in real life as well.
What if at a key moment in the game, my uniform bursts open and oops, my bosoms come flying out? That might draw a crowd, right?
You think there are men in this country who ain't seen your bosoms?
Before we had acting auditions, we had baseball auditions. So if you couldn't play ball, you couldn't even audition for this movie. Hundreds and hundreds of actresses came to these tryouts. It was remarkable. You couldn't get into a batting cage in LA during those 2 weeks. They were all busy, filled with, famous actresses with quarters, waiting to go in and try to hit a fastball.
She's under it. Uncle Elmore's socks! What did she do?
It was tough, yeah. It's also very good for your legs doing like hundreds of squats a day. I developed some pretty strong muscles. But it was strenuous. It is a difficult position, and fortunately I had special coaches for learning all that stuff. And period details, catching is kind of a lot different now than it was 40 years ago or whatever. So now the glove is such that they can just reach their arm out, and back then you had to use two hands, and so you had to move your whole body to catch the ball, things like that.
It was great to work with Penny, especially for my motion picture debut, because I was in very competent comedic hands, and she has a great comedic instinct and trusted me with my own and let me improvise. And due to her generosity, I ended up in a lot more of the film than I was originally supposed to be in. So it was a great experience for me.
We stuck to the script a lot, but she has a tendency to leave the camera rolling in case something funny happens. And certain people are very good at that. Rosie is so quick, she can come up with anything, and Tom Hanks is like that also. So we relied on them a lot.
Penny, a lot of fun to work with. That's an interesting concept. She allows you to have a lot of fun, and usually so clean-cut and likable and charming and all that stuff. And that's one of the reasons I was attracted to this. I mean, I'm not a real chameleon, so I can't disappear inside something and say, I thought Tom Hanks was in this movie. They know exactly where I am in these things all the time. But in order to get, kind of fat and out of shape and never shave and be kind of disgusting through the beginning, I think it would only really work under really particular certain kind of confines. And as this kind of broken down baseball player, I think it works like that. So I was intrigued. I was attracted to the sloppiness of the guy.
I've quit drinking. You've seen the error of your ways. No, I just can't afford it.
Usually you make these movies and there's only one woman in it, and there's usually two. There's the woman who's the co-star, and then there's the woman who plays the secretary, and there's the woman who da-da-da. And so I actually had that role in this thing. I was kind of like the token opposite gender person in this thing. And so sometimes I was ignored, sometimes I was put up with, sometimes I was merely appeased. But I certainly was not the father figure to all these women. Oh, no, 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 no. It's more like the cruelly treated younger brother.
It was a great experience. It's very rare that it happens in Hollywood, that a lot of women get to work together in an ensemble piece. I don't remember it happening since Steel Magnolias, really, and I was just glad to be a part of it.
I love women. I think women get along well and do a good job of being in a group, and it was fun. We were together all the time. You know, most of the scenes in the movie are all of us playing or all of us in the dugout or whatever. So there we were.